Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Duval Dive, a special live edition, an emergency edition, if you will. I'm Kyle Nash of Fans First Sports Network.
I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And you're listening to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network, and we have... Tyson Campbell is traded to the Cleveland Browns for Greg Newsome and a pick swap. It feels weird even still saying it, Travis. But evidently here, reported by Adam Schefter and others here, just as you see here on the screen, trade partners from the draft night now trading even more. I even got a direct message on Twitter from the Barking Browns podcast, Casey Kinnaman. Jimmy Stone's at it again.
Man, yeah, he's been busy. Jimmy don't sleep, I guess. Like, this was a shocker to me, man. Like, we were just getting off the Duval Dive live on Wednesday. The podcast, me and you had just hung up, got done talking on the phone, chilling, relaxing with the family, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? All right. Like, let's be honest, man. We all knew that this was a possibility, but I don't think anybody ever thought it was even reasonably likely. Like, and I think that's like they were obviously blatantly tired of paying for non-production. And I don't mean that as a knock to Tyson Campbell. I'm just calling it what it is. Like, we all know the fact of the matter is Tyson struggled in this 2025 season. Getting his head around, getting his hands on the ball, making plays on the ball, things of that nature. Like, and I'm not the type of guy to kind of dance on the guy's grave, especially when you're talking to DB, just in general. But I mean, a lot of the guys, they've kind of said it better than I probably ever could. Like Ryan O'Halloran, like Tyson Campbell trade ends his Jaguars career with a 27-game interception drought. That's rough. But that's rough, but it's honestly pretty honest. It's pretty accurate there. Like, overall, Rip Ballou. Like, Tyson can't be happy getting stuck in Cleveland. It's a weird career in Duval. He had zero ball awareness when he arrived. He was picked on and had 5 picks in his first 2 years, but he's only had 1 since 2023. Trent Baalke, former Jacksonville Jaguars general manager's ego about re-signing his own players resulted in a bad contract. And I actually think that he hit it on the head there. We talked about it with Tony Wiggins, Locked On Jaguars, heading up into that 2024 offseason, that we probably wouldn't have given Tyson Campbell that contract just because of his health issues. I mean, before we even get to evaluating the play on the field. And unfortunately, I mean, Jimmy and they saw enough within this defense that's pretty dang dominant. Like, you can't say that Jacksonville Jaguars defense is not grabbing interceptions left and right all over the place. And none of them have come from Tyson Campbell so far. He's actually been reasonably picked on in this 2025 season.
And a few things in his defense. He always seems to get put on the receiver one, and that it just has not gone well here this season.
Sure.
Factor number 2 is the other thing that I find tremendously interesting is somebody in the comments during our Duval Dive stream earlier tonight. It still feels weird to say that, but during that stream tonight, someone's asked, "What do you mean, DB cornerback depth?" Well, if they didn't have cornerback depth, this trade would not be celebrated amongst the Duval about the way that it is out there on the socials. I have to say.
That's the fair point. Like, the fact of the matter is they have multiple guys available. Like we just talked about on Wednesday's episode. And I say Wednesday's episode like this ain't still Wednesday. Goodness gracious. Y'all got me busy. Y'all got me busy, bro. Like the fact of the matter is, hey, they had Montaric Brown, who was one of the top 3 defenders in this past week against the Kansas City Chiefs. You had cornerback Travis Hunter, who was also a top 3 defender at cornerback this past game against the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Jarian Jones, who only played 3 defensive snaps this past week. You got Jordan Lewis, who's realistically your best corner, unless you want to make the argument that Travis Hunter is going to be that guy, or he's already arrived. I'm not here to argue that. That's not relevant to me. My point is, you have guys across the board, and now you're bringing in someone like a Greg Newsome, who's going to be a free agent that you're able to add to that room another dog who's probably at least going to be similar to Tyson Campbell, if not better. It was interesting because Tyson Campbell was drafted 7 picks behind Newsome in that 2021 draft. They were in the same draft class. And the biggest difference was that Tyson Campbell got his extension because, Jaguars, Trent Baalke. And meanwhile, Newsome was given his 5th-year option, his 5th-year extension. So they got that picked up. So now with Newsome being a free agent, and Jacksonville giving Tyson the big contract extension, now we're kind of at that point where the Jaguars open up a lot of cap space for that 2026, 2027, moving forward. And the Cleveland Browns get themselves a cornerback who they think maybe they can build with. They seem to be willing to take on that contract with, what they're just trying to grab players and see what they can do with it. I get it from both sides. It's a reasonably fair deal overall.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring up, I think these 26, 27 numbers are in mind to free up space perhaps for Trayvon Walker in the future.
I mean, that's always a possibility, but I don't even know if it's I don't know if it's that's that crazy of a thought. Like overall, I don't even know if it goes that far. I just think these guys have shown you that they're willing to have everyone compete. And I say everyone basically other than the quarterback. I
don't mean to imply that that's the driving force, but it's certainly another
think it's an extra thing.
Yeah, a nugget, absolutely. And listen, I think here's what it is too. We were promised, or at least we were used to seeing, when healthy, getting good play from Tyson Campbell, right? But what's the running joke, right? Inevitably, he will get hurt. Well, I can make the argument this is the healthiest stretch he's had since he's gotten that big extension, right? Which feels weird. Like, I actually asked him about his extension at camp when he got it, the morning after he got it. It weirds me out to even have this conversation the way we're having, but here we are. And with all of the above being said, Travis, I think that element of expectation of you're healthy, but this is what's happening is the driving force of it too, right?
Well, because it's the fact of the matter. I mean, we keep talking about the fact that he's going to be put onto the top guy on the other team's offense, and that is true, sure. But also, Campbell is not like he's just been abused, and just being honest, I'm again not trying to throw shade, but he's been abused on the film by other teams' second receiver. He's got T. Higgins got him for a long touchdown catch. I mean, you got the Tyson. What was the Chiefs receiver? Goodness gracious,
Tyson Thornton, sir.
Thornton, yeah, goodness, had the big catch against him just this past week.
You don't know his name; he's a rookie.
The overall point was the fact that he's given up a 42, a 50-yard, a 31-yard, and a 34-yard reception this season out of his 314 yards allowed given up. He just has struggled getting his head back around, which is something that he struggled with early on. And unfortunately, that is your cornerback number one, and they're paying you that money. I understand why they got off the contract. I'm just shocked that they did it because they continue to keep shocking me doing the things that everybody seems to be it seems to be blatantly obvious to all of us, media and fans alike, that this is obviously not working. And they're just like, well, then why are we continuing to do this stupid thing? We haven't hit the bye week, and they've made enough trades like that, enough moves like that kind of last a lifetime. And I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's a smart decision. I'm just shocked they all did it.
It's a smart decision. It's shocking to see this kind of money tied up. You usually, the fan, myself included, I am surprised by this. See, when that much money's tied up in something, that it tends to lock things in. That is not what happened here. And you mentioned things it's obvious it's not working, right? It's just Monday night, Travis. 2 nights ago, where the offensive lineman, made a comment about Campbell getting beat again, and you go, shots fired, but you're not wrong, or something to that effect. So, I mean, it's a surprise.
It's becoming the constant joke within the fan base. It was becoming, and again, these guys they're not shielded from the conversation surrounding the community. Like, they know what the media is talking about. Obviously, Baselli was in the media. Like, the GM, like all these guys, they know what we're talking about because they're talking about some of the same stuff. They're probably having some of the same conversations, just like we talked about on Monday's Duval died post game. Like, they know what's happening. They have their own thoughts on what the film says. And if you are someone who is a ball knower or someone who watches film, you know what this is, man. You know these things cannot happen. Like, you cannot continue to get beat in the ways that you're being beat and think it was going to last. Eventually, something had to give. And what gave is Tyson Campbell's now a Cleveland Brown, and Greg Newsome is now a Jacksonville Jaguar. Now, speaking of, like, just again, we already gave the comparison to all those guys. John Shipley already
Dang,
put out the
shit.
stats. From the next gen stats, Greg Newsome in 2025 has given up 16 catches for 230 yards allowed on 23 targets. That's a 61% completion rate and a 90.2 passer rating. No touchdowns given up, no interceptions. Tyson Campbell, comparatively, has
Oh,
given up 21 catches for 314 yards on 39 targets. So that's a 53% rate, completion rate, 106.1 passer rating with 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So again, just apples to apples comparison. Campbell seemed to have a worse current 2025 season than Greg Newsome. And if you don't know who Greg Newsome is, understandably, he's a Cleveland Brown defensive back. But if you know anything about the Cleveland Browns defensive backs, is they are generally very sticky in their coverage. Like they play a lot of that press man coverage and just generally dogs in the defensive backfield. You know that because even when the Jaguars played against them in 2024, what was the end result? It was like, all right, cool. They couldn't breathe. The
the
receivers couldn't
Bengals
keep
have
open. They couldn't breathe.
traditionally, with Joey Burr, have struggled with the Browns. Newsome has to be at least part of the reason, you would think, right?
Right. So Newsome has the $13.3 million cap hit in 2025, and he's going to be a guy who's being brought in on a contract year. And I think that's a benefit also, just personally, because you're adding another guy within that defense on a contract year who's probably hungry to try to get paid and try to catch on to this new defense. And it seemed to work with Travis Etienne, right? Seemed to work with Devin Lloyd, right? So you kind of have to hope that you just bring another guy into that room to continue pushing other guys or maybe pushing themselves in Greg Newsome and just kind of see how everything shakes out. Like I'm not against that all. And your worst case scenario is you're just going to be drafting another corner in the 2026 NFL draft, and you still have Travis Hunter, Monteric Brown on the contract year also, and Jarian Jones and Jordan Lewis. Like you have so many options. Like you're good here, man.
A few points I'm seeing in the comments here loosely is Robert points out Newsome intercepted Trevor, so that's a funny bit
That
of
is fair. He definitely did on Calvin Ridley pass, right?
right. And with what Newsome feeling rejuvenated, going from the Browns to a team with life and hope that's trending upward.
That's fair from Newsome's point of view. He's about loving life right now, man. I didn't even think about that part of it. Jacksonville Jaguars, congratulations, man. Duval, all y'all, man. Like you have a general manager who ain't afraid to make these crazy, like I say crazy, but honestly, just standard
Bold.
moves because he didn't sign these guys. Like he notices guys he ain't drafted, and it was like, hey, man, let's get out the paint. He got assets back for it, which is just the craziest part of all of this, man. Like
intangibly rich. Sorry, it felt appropriate.
Jordan DeLugo, man, I think he said it earlier on one of the I don't know what social it was, but it was basically that the Jaguars upgraded in draft capital because they did the pick switch, which means the Jaguars are going to give up their 7th round pick and they receive a 6th round pick. They upgrade the talent. We are to look at the data. We are to look at the film already from these guys. Like we know that at minimum you have an equal shift and you'll just be getting off the contract, or you maybe even got a guy who's more of an upgrade on the cornerback position. And then you create more competition in that DB room because another contract year guy, we just talked about that. It gives you more cap flexibility because again, you're talking about a guy who's a free agent versus that big Tyson contract that was signed in 2024 from Trent Baalke. And if you don't remember, that was a 4-year, $76.5 million extension with $53 million guaranteed back in July 2024. Whereas again, Newsome's only making like $13 million, and he's a free agent after this year. Spot Track already gave us the numbers. It was a post June 1st trade, so the dead cap in 2025 is going to be $6 million, $6.1 million, with the 2026 dead cap of 19.5 for the trade of Tyson Campbell. The team does save 1.8 million in 2025.
That's crazy.
But that's how you know this is not about money. This is truly, hey man, this wasn't working with this guy. We got something back. We improved on our draft capital, and we got another dog in the secondary who at least we know is someone who's good in playing in that press man situation and getting the ball out. It's a win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a win for Cleveland, who thinks maybe they have a long-term guy who maybe they can develop in their defense. Or worst case scenario, they have the cap to kind of figure it out. I get it from all sides. I'm thankful that Cleveland continues to trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars because it always seems to work out pretty well for the Jaguars side of things. I don't know about Cleveland though, but
It's looking that way so far. I won't say otherwise. Yeah.
the Barking Browns, I'm sure they might have other opinions of this, but I'm sorry for your losses, bro. but I do question if this means more. Like, what does this mean in the secondary? Because a lot of people are like, well, this is obviously Travis Hunter time, and I'm like, I think that might be true. I believe that might be true. We know how good Jordan Lewis already is, but does this also mean that maybe Montaric Brown gets a lot more reps on that outside corner role? And when they push Jordan Lewis on the inside, or is like, what is this going to be? Basically, is kind of where I'm very curious, because I think we're all ready to make assumptions, but we don't really know yet. It was just 2 weeks ago we were talking about Travis Hunter not playing very much in the 49ers game. Like, so where are we truly with that part?
And I wonder how much maybe this is also telling to an extent about perhaps Darian Jones's health. Like, what's his situation there too? So I don't know where he fits into this equation.
I mean, that's fair, but I think overall, this is the big trade. It's a big night in an already big week for the Jacksonville, your 4-1 Jacksonville Jaguars, who are tied in first in the AFC South, to then trade away their cornerback one. But to be honest and transparent with what it is, he's obviously not playing like a cornerback one. Thus, the trade that happened. And now you are in the future. That's basically what it is. Like, what must be done tomorrow must be done today. Thomas Jefferson, and we all kind of knew something was going to have to give, and that thing that gave is, again, Tyson Campbell's now in Cleveland, and Greg Newsome the second. Come on down.
Something like that. A lot of people in the comments giving your props for letting Jimmy Stones know that he should do something about Tyson Campbell.
Oh my gosh. Hey man, they continue doing the things that we all believe that they should do, but also crazy that they still did it, because you're not used to seeing that so early.
Yeah.
And I said it to Bo Crouch, our guest on Friday's Duval Dive, because he's one of my guys that I do with the South Florida Tribune, Inside the Pigskin podcast. That he covers the Seattle Seahawks, and I loved this Pete Carroll Seattle team where they would always get off of draft picks early. They were religious about, hey, we drafted this guy in the third round, but it's not going to work out, and we'll trade him the next year. Like, they were just good about knowing what they're looking for, and if it's not that guy, they're going to get off of it. That's what I'm seeing a lot of from this Jimmy Stones, this Liam Cohen, this Tony Caselli, EVP. Like,
Jimmy Stone.
That is what I'm seeing from these guys, is they know what they're looking for, and if it ain't that, get out the paint. And that's just what it's been so far. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Now I'm willing to give them the space to see if they do the same thing with guys that they drafted. That's the other piece that I'm waiting. That's the other shoe that I'm waiting to drop. Yeah. How long do they give that same space to guys who they picked, in the draft, and it's just not working out? Like, we haven't seen that yet, but I'm curious.
I haven't seen Jalen McLeod's name mentioned at all. They seem to be moving off of him pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh nah, man, he was injured. He injured. That's different. Nah, Jalen's my people. Like, we ain't doing that one. Not yet. Not yet. At least.
I'm just throwing it out there. See what you. It's okay.
Not yet.
Okay. But okay. So
Michael Barber in the chat, Buster time in his opinion. All right.
No, hey, listen. Yeah, good to see you, by the way, Barber, for sure. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good comments here. We don't want to spend a lot of time on it because it is in fact late as hell.
On our second podcast tonight. This one's a special just for y'all, because we were like, dude, they just traded Tyson Campbell. What? Yeah, but let's do another one. A second Wednesday podcast. Just
we stuck in here to record this, and we're like, you want to go live, don't you?
Yeah, you kind of got to go live when something like this happens, man. Come on.
So but
you guys got the gist of it, man. They upgraded draft capital, they upgraded the cornerback talent, they upgraded the amount of competition in that room, because again, Tyson, we all knew, and you have to know these guys knew the same thing, that this wasn't working out. Like, if that's your cornerback one, that's not giving you giving him the role because of that money and for no other reason, not the tape. And yeah, you got flexibility within the cap. You got all four areas. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars won in that thought process. I got Nothing negative to say about this, bro.
And just off the top of my head, some upcoming opponents, including another shot at Nico Collins, for example, Lad McConkey, and that entire Chargers receiver core, Puka Nacua and the Rams. There's some high-profile dudes at receiver that are still on this schedule. You have to wonder if that was on the mind of Jimmy Stones and Liam Cohen both in this scenario.
Maybe, man. Maybe. I mean, they are just doing what it takes to win games, and it's funny because we're just not used to that in Duval. Like, we just don't know what to do with our hands. Like, I'm being real. Like I know the fan base is just not used to. These just guys, they're just doing what they got to do to win games. Nothing more. Nothing more special than that. It's just, nah, man, this ain't working. So, and I want to win. So, what do I got to do to win? I got to cut him. If he dies, he dies. Next guy. Like, that's kind of what it is.
I love it. And by the way, great dropping of the what is it, the Rocky IV quote there. I got
the Rocky IV. Yeah.
Here's where I am. It's a simple thing, and I know, they just got to do what they do to win games. That's easy to say. These dudes deserve props for moving off of dudes with big money like that. I mean, that is you. There are not many GMs that have the stones to do that.
I mean, to do that, it's one thing to do it, to move off of it, because fine, that happens in the NFL. You see that all the time. It's hard to move off of the guy that early.
Yes.
In your regime with that contract.
Yes.
Willing to take that, just swipe the Band-Aid off and just take that hit and still better your contract, better your draft pick in the process. That's the part that I'm like, dude, how the hell did they get a better draft pick in this? Like, I know it's only a 6th round pick, but I'm just like, how did you get a better draft pick out of this? But okay, cool. Maybe they ain't seen enough of the table. Maybe they just believe in their coaching just that much that they think Tyson's going to be that much significantly better than Greg Newsome, because they knew they weren't going to be re-signing Newsome, who was already on that 5th-year contract. Could be as simple as that. I just think it's crazy.
It absolutely is. And we'll analyze that more throughout the season here. I mean,
yes,
there's some questions here. Storm, our friend Storm the Desert. I'll go and flash this comment real quick. Storm this. How long does it take Newsome to grasp enough of the playbook for the defense to feel comfortable throwing him out there? I don't know. I don't know how much time I would expect to see him against Seattle. I'll put it that way.
Oh yeah. But I mean, not that quick. I would probably say that ain't happening. Not expect. They were already on the short week. Like, no,
exactly.
The communication is the biggest thing in a defensive secondary, and when you're talking about playing, zone coverage or even like zone match coverages like that, you may have miscommunications. You have a boatload of these busts in the secondary. You're not doing that. You're not against Seattle.
What the hell is the plane going to land? Is it even going to be tomorrow morning? It's crazy. So I don't know.
I mean, you never know. When Colin Saunders got traded, he was at that practice the next day. So you never know.
True. It wasn't on a short week during the season as well. I get all of it entirely, but I think with that we'll go ahead and put a bow on this. We've spoken at length of this surprise. For those of you who wondered what the hell we're doing on this late, Tyson Campbell traded for Greg Newsome to the Cleveland Browns and a pick swap as well there too. Just fascinating stuff. We'll unpack all this as we go. I'm certain there'll even be probably an element of this on next Wednesday's pod as well, as we unpack the impact Greg Newsome will have now that he would have had a chance to unpack in Duval. Champion, tell the people.
Man, y'all already know BigCatCountry.com, but most importantly, catch me on the socials, Travis D. Holmes, whether it's Blue Sky, whether it's X, etc. If you're still listening to us, please click the like button. It helps us out tremendously. It costs you nothing but that click of the button, just the little click. And also, if you're listening to us on the audio, please rate and review us. Help us out there. Help us out with the algorithm. This thing continues to grow. The machine continues to run because you guys comment, because you guys click that like button, because you guys continue sharing it to your friends and family and all the rest of the Duval devout. And we thank you for that. But BigCatCountry.com. We're going to have you guys covered with this Tyson Campbell trade and any other additional move they feel like making at 3 a.m. in the morning. But let us know where you can be found, bro.
Listen, guys, thank you very much for jumping in. I am Kyle Nash, the Stu of the Game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the Stu of the Game. Check out my writings on Fans for Sports Network covering your Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm not writing an article tonight. It's too damn late. And also my work covering the Orlando Magic, as well as my work covering UCF with the Black and Gold Banneret and the Night Shift podcast, and also the Bolt Blitz Uncut. I'm the producer there for a group that covers the Los Angeles Chargers. Shouts to Booga Peters and Buck D, Buck Dangerously, Robert Gibson. Guys, an honor, joy, and privilege. Thanks for coming aboard for this quick ride. Like I said, it's going to come up next week too, because it's just that crazy. I'll put it this way. You guys liking and subscribing is more valuable to us than a pick swap. I can guarantee you. Yeah, Newsome from 1-4 to 1. Crazy stuff. So for my personal champion, for all of you in the comments, Kyle Nash, the student of the game, thank you again. Until next time, everyone. Class dismissed.